Are you looking at a scholarly article? Now that you know why scholarly and popular articles are written, who they're written for, and who writes them, let's take a look at how to determine which of these types of articles you're looking at when you're in the library databases. When you're looking at articles on the shelf, you can quickly see some visual clues to indicate what type of source you're looking at. Newsprint can indicate that you're looking at a newspaper article. Glossy paper with lots of color, advertisements, and sometimes even product samples can indicate that you're looking at a magazine. Long articles with a lot of text and few or no advertisements may indicate that you are looking at a scholarly journal. Journals are often printed in black and white, but not always. When you're looking at articles through the article databases, clues like newsprint or glossy paper don't exist. What other clues can you use? How long is the article? Articles published in magazines and newspapers tend to be short, anywhere from a paragraph to a few pages. Articles that have gone through the scholarly peer-reviewed process tend to be long, sometimes 20 or more pages. It's possible for a peer-reviewed article to be short, like 5 pages, but it would be considered relatively short for a peer-reviewed article. What is the writing style? Articles published in magazines and newspapers are written for a general audience, so they tend to be easy to read and to understand by adult readers. The tone might seem conversational and use language that you might use in everyday life when speaking with friends. Articles that have been published in scholarly journals and that have gone through the peer review process are written for experts in the field, so they will use specialized language and be written in an academic writing style. Peer-reviewed articles will be understandable by experts, but they may be a challenging read for people who are new to the topic. Are there cited sources? Peer-reviewed articles will always cite sources. Scholarly authors do this for a variety of reasons, including to provide evidence and support for their claims, to demonstrate that they have thoroughly investigated the topic before presenting their original information, and to help readers find the source if they would like to read it for themselves. If you're looking at a peer-reviewed article, you will usually find the citations in the footnote area of the article or listed at the end. Magazines and newspapers usually do not provide citations at the end of the article. What are the author's credentials? Peer-reviewed articles published in scholarly journals will usually include basic information about the author's credentials next to their names, which you will usually find towards the top or bottom of the first page or at the end of the article. You will often find information about where the person works and his or her job title. You may find a variety of ways magazines and newspaper articles display information about the article's author. Sometimes you will not see an author's name at all. Sometimes you will see just the author's name. Sometimes you will see an author's name and his or her credentials. Remember, magazines and newspapers might have experts on staff or publish articles written by guest writers. Just because you see that the author is an expert or has an advanced degree in the field, it doesn't mean that the article has gone through the peer review process. You have to look at several clues discussed in this video in order to determine what type of article you're looking at. What is the format and purpose of the article? Some types of scholarly articles present information on study or an experiment. If you find such an article, like this study about jealousy, you are likely to see sections such as an abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussions or conclusions, and references. This format is typical for an article that reports the findings of an experiment or a study. However, not all peer-reviewed scholarly articles follow this format. This article about jealousy in Shakespeare's Othello has been peer-reviewed, but it does not follow the methods, results, and discussion format because it doesn't present an experiment or study. Instead, it presents a scholarly analysis of a literary work, so the headers reflect the topic of each section. Things to remember. When you're trying to determine the type of article that you're looking at in a library database, consider several questions like, how long is it? What is the writing style? Are sources cited? Who wrote it and what are their credentials? Does it report on the results of an experiment or study? Or does it share new scholarly analysis, theories, or original research on a topic? If you've answered these questions and are still not able to determine if the article is scholarly or not, consult your professor or a librarian. We are always happy to help you. Thanks for watching.